Hi golfers, Rob Cheney here from GOLFTEC Singapore. Today's video we're going to discuss one of my favourite drills, which is at the absolute foundation of building a stable, reliable and consistent golf swing. What is it? It's the head on the wall drill, and it's going to absolutely transform the way you swing the golf club. So I'm going to break this video up into two videos. There's going to be today we're going to discuss the benefits of this drill for building good backswing motion and pivot, and good follow-through motion and pivot. And then the next video, which is probably going to be one of my favorite videos I've ever made, is going to discuss the transition from backswing into downswing into follow-through, and how you can blend all of this together to build your perfect golf swing. But we have to start from a baseline and establish the fact here. Why is this drill so good? What makes it so special, so useful, and one that I use every week here at GOLFTEC? We have to start from the same page in the sense that good golf swings are built around the idea that you have a stable axis from the face-on view. So that means that good golf swings are fairly centered, stacked, if you want to say that. They don't have a great deal of movement to side to side. The poorer players tend to do that. That affects their ability to control contact. So good golf swings are fairly stable in terms of their axis from the face-on view. And then from down the line view, the inclination to the ground, the amount that you bend forwards, this angle, if you like, that you create at setup by bending forwards, that inclination to the ground remains stable in good golf swings as well. So the ability to control the front view axis and the down the line axis requires very specific movement pattern. It requires a very specific way to move. And whilst a lot of that can get lost and may seem quite complicated, I actually think the basic movements themselves are extremely simple. They're just generally poorly defined and not very well explained. So this exercise, this head on the wall drill, is a way of helping you to build a backswing, a follow through, in fact an entire golf swing that has these basic movements of turning, tilting and extending on the backswing and on the follow through. It can teach you those very quickly without having to worry about all the technical jargon that goes along with it. So that's why I love this drill. Today we're going to do backswing and follow through. Next week we're going to do transition. Let's get stuck into the backswing. So the way that you would do this drill, as the name of the drill suggests, is you would find a wall or a door frame even, and you would use that contact point of your forehead on the wall or the door as your reference for keeping a stable head, effectively. That's what this exercise does. It keeps your center, your upper axis here in a stable place from front on, and helps you to maintain this tilt or this inclination from down the line. In order for me to be able to film this and show this to you as well as I can, I'm going to just have a makeshift wall, which is what I've built here with my tour striker plane station. I've got a tour alignment stick, coming out of it, and I've got this pool noodle set up in such a way that I'm going to be able to take my setup and rest my head on the noodle. For the purposes of this drill, the noodle is the wall. You could set this up. I've done this multiple times for students in the bay to help them practice like this. I've set it up for online students as well, drills to help them control their turns and their tilts. So it's a great little setup, and if you haven't got a tour striker plane station that you can use, I'm sure you can manufacture something similar. Even just organizing your golf bag in such a way that you could stick a club out or put something of a head cover on the top of a grip. Many different little modifications for this drill, but it's a really good one. So this is why I've got this set up. This is my head on the wall, so to speak. But as you'll see from the other videos that I'm playing alongside this, the actual real way to learn to do this in the first instance is to find yourself a wall or a door frame. It's also worth mentioning that this drill is for everybody, beginner to expert golfer. For a beginner, it's an absolute godsend in terms of showing someone how to move correctly, quickly. The movements of the golf swing require quite a bit of coordination. They're not that straightforward, and lots of you would have either experienced or seen people picking up a golf club for the first time. They don't always look the most natural. And golf isn't that natural, and if it was, I think people would generally do better at it earlier. So learning the basic movements for a beginner are absolute priceless. This exercise is fantastic if you're new or relatively new to the game. But equally for intermediate and even expert golfers, this drill and this exercise can be very beneficial. I was listening to one of my best friends, one of an expert teacher, Andreas Kalli from Denmark, speaking recently on an online training course that he did. And he referenced this drill, this head on the wall, and this 90-90-90 exercise, which I filmed a few weeks back in terms of a follow-through. He's using that with his most expert players, specifically someone who's now on the European Tour, has the European Tour card for 2022. Andreas does a phenomenal job of teaching the juniors. These guys are expert players, and they're still using this to control their contact, their power, and their curve. So I'm trying to impress on you the importance of this drill, regardless of your ability and where you are in your current golf game. This can help everybody. So I'm going to build up the backswing from the beginning. Let's rest our head on the wall. I'm going to start by taking our golf posture and placing our hands on our thighs. Okay, I'm resting my palms on my thighs, and I'm going to just do a backswing motion, which includes my left knee flexing down, my right knee straightening. And as I do that, my left hand travels down towards my left knee, and my right hand travels up towards my right hip. This starts to teach me this sequencing of turning, tilting, and extending. So you see how my shoulders are tilted to the ground. I have this nice stretch up my right side. Okay, I've not stayed in flexion. If I did, my head would have moved off of the wall. So I keep my head in contact with the noodle, head in contact with the wall, flex my front knee, straighten my trail knee, my hips turn, my hips tilt, my shoulders turn, and my shoulders tilt. A quick variation on that, if you're more comfortable, would be to put your hands across your shoulders, so cross your arms, touch your shoulders, and we're just going to do the same movement, which is the pivot of the torso, the hips, and how the legs are involved as well. It's really important. The feet are turned out, knees are turned out, changing the knee flex, turning the hips, turning the shoulders, tilting, but staying centered, which means I'm doing the right amount of turning, tilting, and extending. Once you've got the basic framework in there, put your arms down, grip a club. You can obviously do this with a club as well at some point. If you're using the wall as your reference though, you'll find it difficult to hold a club because there would be a wall in the way here. I usually build it up without the club, especially for newer golfers. So just take your grip, let your arms hang down like they would do, and make that same motion. Keep your head on the wall. Knees are changing flex, hips are turning, shoulders turning and tilting. Hand path conforming to the grid. Lead arm conforming to the grid. I've talked about this in very recent videos. Now I've got this perfect backswing structure where I've turned fully, I've extended my spine correctly to stay centered, and I've managed to maintain my tilts, which is my inclination to the ground. It gives me the best possible chance controlling my low point, creating some potential power, and controlling the curve on my ball. So that's the backswing exercise. I recommend 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes a day of that. It's really not difficult to do. Like anything, if it's enough of a priority for you, you'll find time to do it. And just building that out slowly without the ball, without hitting balls. One of the biggest reasons I love this is because when I take students away from the mat and actually having a club and a ball in front of them, the awareness and attention to the movement increases dramatically. The second you put the club back in the hand and the ball's on the ground, the intention shifts to just hitting the ball. And so the movement pattern doesn't really change much at all. Taking someone out of that environment, putting them in at home, as this drill could easily do with the head on the wall, no golf club, no golf ball, no driving range, and nothing to worry about, just focusing on good motion, 5 minutes a day will transform the way that you build that backswing pivot. Okay, let's discuss the other side of the swing, the front side. In order to have a good golf swing, it's got to have a good back, it's got to have a good front or an end to it. You know, if you've watched my channel for any length of time, how much of a fan I am of the follow through and defining the follow through and the finish position, and how beneficial that can be. This drill helps us to do that. So let's talk about the specifics of how to build the follow through. And I'm going to start from a static address position again, just like I would do for doing the backswing. I'm going to come back to a static standard setup position. And this is often how I'd explain it to new golfers and beginners and anyone really I'm trying to teach the follow through to. So head on the wall, hands, this time I like to put them on the hips. I like to get golfers to just hold their hips. I'm resting my hands here on my belt. And the function here that's so important, the piece to start to learn, is how to move the hips forward. So the hips move into a rightward tilt here. I'm pushing my pelvis towards the target and I'm straightening my legs as I do that. So I'm pushing my pelvis towards the target, straightening my legs and keeping my head on the wall. Like this movement, pushing my hips, turning, and keep pushing my hips up and towards the target. Now, if I do that and maintain my head on the wall, what you'll see from down the line is how I've maintained this tilt. And one of the things that I think massively separates golfers of different skill levels is that tilting on the follow through. There's lots said about the tilting on the backswing, but the poorest players as they swing through lose their tilts. Your ability to keep your head on the wall while pushing your hips forward and extending your legs is really demonstrated by the best players. I explained that in the 90-90-90 drill from a couple of weeks ago, which I'll link in the description in case you missed that. It's a very important drill. It's a drill that can really improve your ball striking and your overall consistency. This is just really helping you to understand the concept of that, and it's an extension of that drill. So head on the wall, hands on the hips, hips forward, legs straight, and as I finish here, notice how far forward my belt buckle has moved from this center point. Now I'll finish the swing, or at least I'm halfway into the follow through. Belt buckle's now the furthest forward piece of me, okay? It's not back here like this. It's pushed forwards, my legs are straight, my hips are turning, and as I get good at that movement here, I can then just drop my arms down, pretend I'm gripping a golf club, and swing through to right arm for me, trail arm, parallel to the ground. What are the checkpoints? The hips are the farthest forward, they're the most up, and the legs are the straightest. The arms are straight, and the arms are also conforming to the grid, so my arms are moving around the circle as I follow through. All the while, keeping my head on the wall. That's the constant for today. Head on the wall until the right arm or the trail arm is parallel to the ground. Do not try to keep your head on the wall beyond that point. That is not what I'm asking you to do. The head stays on the wall, impact into this early follow through until the right arm's parallel with the ground, and then after that, the head would definitely come away from the wall. So do not try and keep your head on the wall forever into the follow through. That's it. That's the head on the wall drill, how to learn the pivot, the basic pivot movements for the backswing and for the follow through. Go practice it. You've got a week to practice that before we move on to the transition piece from once you've built this backswing, how you move into the downswing and then find that follow through position. Spend some time, 5 minutes a day, getting used to the positions and the feels that elicits for you. You don't have to go and hit balls. I've already said that. You do not need to go to the driving range and start smashing balls. Build the form, function will follow, and next week's video, which will discuss this transition, really is a game changer as far as helping golfers to transition their weight, start to move correctly into the downswing and the follow through. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell, and you'll know as soon as next week's video gets uploaded. In the meantime, if you've got any questions about this head on the wall drill, please jump down in the comments and let me know. I will tag a couple of other videos down in the description which I think are relevant to this video. I've done other videos in the past that discuss this concept of centered turn, but it's the first time I've really addressed this drill. I'll also cover the 90-90-90 drill, which is from a couple of weeks back, which I think is extremely useful. So I'll pop that down in there as well. Finally guys, 2 quick favors before I let you go. 1, hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. It really helps the video to get seen by more people. And on the subject of getting seen by more people, go ahead and share this with your golfing friends, whether they be beginners or more intermediate or expert players who you think would benefit from this exercise. I'd really appreciate you sharing, helps to grow the channel and the community. Until next video, take care, see you soon.